Oh, LV, always at the forefront of the rumor mill. Yes, we're talking about Louis Vuitton once again, and this time there are so many rumors swirling that the Louis Vuitton Neverfull is being discontinued in all of its original canvas lines and leather lines, so everything except for the limited edition designs. Now, first it was they're being discontinued. Then it turned into they're actually just going to reduce production and have everyone go on a wait list and wait approximately 3 months or so. So the rumors are kind of back and forth and stories are changing. And I have not been able to validate anything, but I am hearing a lot through Instagram, YouTube, and screenshots of people who have been on TikTok. So it's sort of like this swirly goo that's happening right now, and I wanted to jump in and share my 2 cents. There have been videos done by Super Jacob and Lula LV and Jessie Style, so please check them out if you're interested in diving a little bit deeper into this topic. But I want to share with you the history of the Louis Vuitton Neverfull, and I think it'll be interesting to kind of factor in their history as we talk about the possibility of them being discontinued. And then I want to talk about these theories swirling around. There are about 4 or 5 different theories as to why Louis Vuitton may have made this decision to either discontinue or limit production. And I have my debunking that I want to do because it's not adding up for me. I have just some other Louis Vuitton bags here, and then I've got my Longchamp and my Cuyana. And the reason why is because I want to talk about alternatives to the Neverfull. So basically, this whole video is me saying, don't panic, don't buy into this, don't freak out, because a lot of the comments that I'm seeing online are, how dare they? Who do they think they are? Does Louis Vuitton now think that they can do quota system like Hermes? Are you kidding me? Or then I see comments like, I have been wanting a Neverfull for ages and now I have to scramble to get one when I'm not ready. I see that they're not available online anymore. And it's true. I went onto the US website today and I see that all of the canvas and leather versions are sold out, and it says notify me for, stock alerts. Just yesterday, when I was hearing all these rumors, I did see that they had some in stock in, I think it was the Dami Azur, I don't remember. There was at least 1 or 2 of the canvas patterns in stock, and now they're no longer. But that could just be a coincidence as well. So I don't want to read too much into that. All right, so let's talk about the Neverfull. As you can see, I don't have it. I am not a Neverfull fan. I have been pretty transparent about that since day one. I don't think there's anything wrong with the bag. It's just not for me. I am not really into totes, which is why I very rarely buy totes. I have these 2, and then I have the Chanel Deauville, and I've got one other Longchamp, but I'm not really a big tote person because I don't carry around that much. But I get it if you need to carry a lot as a mom bag, diaper bag, work bag. Now, travel bag, I hear the Neverfull is great as a travel bag. I would have to strongly disagree. Even though you can put a lot of things in there, it's really insecure. There's no proper closure. So with me traveling, I need closure and I need a little bit more structure and some compartments to keep me organized for all the travel. And when I'm at the airport, I see Neverfulls everywhere. Sometimes I'm tempted to just take a snapshot of everybody in line at the airport because it's like every other person is wearing a Neverfull bag. And to me, that's not a good thing because when I'm at the airport, I want my luggage and my carry-on to stand out so I can easily spot it and I don't mix it up with anyone else. If I owned a Neverfull, I would not know which one's mine. Like, you put it on the conveyor belt and you have to keep your eye on it because there's a Neverfull right next to it and on the other side of it. So anyway, that's just me. So I'm not bugged at all by the fact that there are rumors swirling around that the Neverfull might be discontinued, but I also can understand if you are trying to get your hands on one that you might feel differently. But still, I say don't buy into all this craziness. Don't get sucked in. Listen, if it's getting discontinued, there are so many Neverfulls on the pre-loved market. It is saturated. And you're going to get it below retail for sure. And Louis Vuitton canvas is supposed to be fairly indestructible. And that is one of the pros. And that's the reason why a lot of people gravitate towards the Neverfull, because this coated canvas is water resistant, it's stain resistant, it's like a workhorse bag. It's a working person's bag. That's what it is. A tote generally is a working person's bag. Mom, student, office person, right? So it's not delicate. And so if you are really looking to get one, you can find so many on the pre-loved market that they're in good condition because they're meant to last. The only piece is the leather that might start to wear down and break, and Louis Vuitton does have a service that you have to pay for, but you can get all the leather trims redone and then it becomes kind of born again. So I would not panic either way, even if the rumors happen to be true that they're being discontinued. But more and more, I feel like based on what I'm hearing, actually the initial rumors were not accurate, and it sounds to me that they're limiting production, which they've done in other things in the past. It's just, it was never leaked. So it wasn't like, there wasn't all this talk about it. You know, a lot of times, many of their canvas items, including SLGs, are sold out online and very rarely available at the boutique. Case in point, the pochette here. This, for years, has been very hard to get your hands on in the boutique or online. You know, if you see it online, you press add to cart and then it just disappears. That means someone else got it. That's how it has been for a while. So this is not that different, except that if it's true that Louis Vuitton is going to create a waitlist system, then at least it's a little bit more clear and organized versus this mysterious, like staying up all night trying to catch one online or visiting the boutique a million times asking and begging for this one thing that you're trying to get. This has been the case for a lot of their popular canvas items. And so they have always limited production. They have always played, games, and I don't mean that in a negative connotation necessarily, but games meaning like with supply and demand, and depending on what sells best, and that informs price increases, and that informs whether they want to be more aggressive, which they have been over the years, or be a little bit more lax. So I don't think this is a panic moment. I'm seeing so many disturbing comments of people like, how could they do this? And it's like, it's okay. You can still get a Neverfull. You can go on the wait list. You can buy it pre-loved, or if you never were interested in the Neverfull in the first place, like myself, don't allow this to then all of a sudden get you sucked in when you were never interested in the first place. Don't get sucked into this artificial FOMO, this fear of missing out, when you didn't really care about missing out on this ever before, okay? So I feel like there's a lot of videos and a lot of Instagram posts with big splashy headlines saying like, can you believe this? And it's creating this sort of rush. And I just want to counter that a little bit with a bit more, balanced viewpoint, or a little bit more of a counterpoint that it's okay. It's okay. Now, again, for those of you who are never really interested in the Neverfull, if you're starting to question yourself, like maybe I should get one now, the retail price on the canvas versions are $2,030 right now. Yes. So let me talk about the history. The Neverfull, if you weren't already aware, was launched in 2007. That's not that long ago. So 2007, and it launched at $645. So that means essentially the price has more than tripled, now again at over $2,000 plus tax, more than tripled in the time since it launched. And again, it only launched in 2007. If you don't know this bit of history, it might be interesting. So it's kind of a known fact that the Neverfull was designed to rival the Goyard tote. The Goyard tote was created in the 1930s. So if you really want to argue which one is a classic, a lot of times classics are the ones that have stood the test of time for a long time. And so the Neverfull, from that sense, doesn't really fit the definition. I think the Neverfull is popular and is one of Louis Vuitton's most popular best-selling classics. But overall, in the big picture, when you look at all the bags that have been designed over the past decades, I would say the Neverfull is not really a true classic. Whereas a Speedy, for example, now if they said that they were discontinuing the Speedy or having everyone go on the wait list for this, I think there would be much more of an uproar, and I think that would be a little bit more understandable because a Speedy to me is a classic. This came out in the 1930s. So you see there's a much longer history, and then you associate this with Audrey Hepburn, and this is like the ultimate travel bag. This was made during the travel revolutionary kind of period when everybody was up and moving. So this to me is associated with classic. And, all these theories that the reason why LV is considering discontinuing or limiting the Neverfull is because they want their exclusivity back. As much as I understand, because there's been so much conversation about exclusivity, I have to laugh because that is just a joke. That can't be why. Because if Louis Vuitton thinks that by limiting the Neverfull tote, that they're going to gain back exclusivity, they have got to have lost their minds. Think about that. It's one thing to say that their exotic leathers or their capucines in the limited edition exotics are going to be harder to get now because they want to up-level their prestige and increase their perception of exclusivity to compete with the Hermes of the world or Chanel even. That's one thing. And they do limit their exotic leathers and certain styles in the capucines, and they have special exhibits for those. And it's treated very differently. The leather bags, in many cases, are treated very differently from their canvas. So I don't think that Louis Vuitton executives would feel like limiting the Neverfull would create all this amazing exclusivity and prestige for them. I think they're well past that point. There's Neverfull everywhere you go. And I feel like if they just want to limit production because they don't want everybody to have one, fine. But then you have to limit production on the Speedy, on the Pochette Matisse, on the Pochette, because these classic popular canvas bags are everywhere, right? It's not just a Neverfull. So I get a little bit of the theory around the exclusivity, and that's always a factor because we all know these luxury brands are constantly keeping their eye on how they're perceived by consumers. And luxury is supposed to be exclusive so that it feels a little different, a little special, right? A little rare. So I get that, but I don't think that's the reason why. I don't think that's a smart move if that's what Louis Vuitton is trying to do. And then the other theory is that, Louis Vuitton is probably not selling as many Neverfulls, and so they're leaking this information to create panic buying. Now, it's possible. It's possible because there have been other rumors that have swirled, and I don't know if it was leaked by Louis Vuitton or just, like these big time influencers that are speculating, but a lot of times they're right and sometimes they've been wrong and have misled us. And I feel like I've been misled a few times, and then I would inadvertently pass on, very sensational news that never really came to be. So I'm very cautious now. And I could see that they might do that to induce panic buying. But I feel like there's enough panic buying already happening with the looming price increases that happen at least twice a year with Louis Vuitton that they don't need to create more of that. I feel like they're already doing that just as part of their system. It's constant panic buying because they're always saying there's about to be a price increase again. And those price increases have been very aggressive. So I don't know. Again, I feel like that can't really be it. Then there are theories swirling that it's because there's so many fakes and replicas out there. But that too makes me just snort because there are replicas of all of these Louis Vuitton bags everywhere you go in the world, okay? Everywhere, internationally, like anywhere you go in a first world country where people have money, disposable income to buy these kinds of things, they're everywhere and there's fakes everywhere, and it's very hard to distinguish between a real and a fake now, and there are super fakes. So if they are trying to combat that, then they would have to do something much more drastic. Like, I don't know if you guys know the history, but a lot of people say the monogram is the original classic print, which is not true. And I've mentioned this in previous videos. This print, this sort of checkerboard print that's now referred to as Dami Ibn, this was the original. And then there was a print before this too, but this was what was used for many, many years. And it was knocked off. There were too many, even back then, years ago, it was knocked off and counterfeited. So it was Louis Vuitton's son who came up with this monogram style. I believe the story goes he was traveling in Japan and he was inspired by the floral motifs in the garden, and he kind of came up with this in honor of his dad who had passed away at that point. So if you want to do something drastic because everybody's got this print or this print, maybe come up with a different print, maybe, right? Like, but not just discontinue the Neverfull as the rumors are swirling. That doesn't do anything. Every popular canvas piece is knocked off majorly right now. So I don't buy that either. And then the final theory I've been hearing is because there's so much hype around quiet luxury, and I did a whole video on that too, and I had a very different take on it than some other people. If you're interested, I'll link it up above. But some are saying maybe Louis Vuitton is trying to move into the quiet luxury territory, and they don't want to become, known as like this loud, tacky monogram bag company. But again, they're already far gone. All of their popular pieces are printed, coated canvas. As much as they're trying to push leather, and they have been for a while, the truth is most people, especially newer customers who are just entering this market, they're gravitating towards Louis Vuitton for coated canvas and this kind of noticeable, recognizable print, because this is what they've been seeing and been aspiring to own at some point. I'm generalizing here, but that is what it is. You know, when you're first entering the luxury designer market, you're not going to buy something that you and no one else can ever recognize, because what happens is you see other people with bags and you go, oh, that's really cute, that's really pretty, that looks nice, that looks classy, or that looks luxury, or whatever, and you start to recognize designs and patterns, and that's how you start. And maybe after a while you start to branch out and you want something a little bit more quiet, or you happen to just find sort of like under the radar brands, as I've been doing lately. But generally speaking, first time and newer customers are gravitating towards these very popular printed coated canvas bags. So I don't think Louis Vuitton is ever going to be associated with quiet luxury. There may be 1, 2, or 3 different bag styles that you can associate with quiet luxury from Louis Vuitton. There are a few that come to mind, but even like the Capucines, it's so well known now that it's Louis Vuitton that it's not really quiet luxury as much as you want to argue that it's not. So all these theories I'm debunking, and so I don't know why they're doing it. I think if it's true that they're limiting production, it's because they want to limit production. And they're probably refocusing their attention on other production, other bags, maybe that have higher profit margins, because at the end of the day, you guys know this is a business, and LV is part of LVMH, which is a publicly traded company that has to please their shareholders before they please customers. So this like outrage and panic is kind of like, while I do understand some bits of it, I just want to say, please don't get sucked into this and all the headlines, because it's not that major. The Neverfull will be there. They're launching more Neverfull limited edition designs all the time, the seasonal ones. They just came out with the Mono Glam. I didn't do a video on it. If you want me to, I can. But the whole Mono Glam collection, there's a Neverfull in there. Why would they continue to make Neverfulls if they're going to pull the plug, right? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Oh, I should open that one. I didn't open that. Oh, I didn't open this one. So you're probably wondering what in the world if you don't know my bags. So this is a seasonal limited edition, no longer produced leather. It's lambskin, speedy in the BB size. If you're into leather, more leather options are coming out from Louis Vuitton. It doesn't have to be canvas. Yes, they're pushing more for leather, probably because that feels a little bit more luxurious, and also because there's probably a higher profit margin, and they're trying to stay away from just being known as a coated canvas, workhorse bag type of brand. So I get it. Every brand tries to evolve after a while, and sometimes it's hard to please every consumer, right? So here's the thing. If you want a tote, again, I'm not a fan of the Neverfull tote, but that's just me. If it works for you, great, because it is very hard wearing and is a total workhorse. In my mind, it's not something that you can wear dressy. I've seen people dress up with the tote, and I feel like the tote kind of takes away from the outfit, because it's like this saggy, droopy, oversized, open-mouthed tote. And in my mind, again, totes are all working bags. So it doesn't mix with like dressy, formal, all of that. But anyway, so this one I got my stuff in here. So I've been wearing this bag. You guys know I featured this in a couple of videos recently, as I've been talking about different brands and more affordable brands and value brands. This is all leather. This is from Kuyana. I am not recommending that you go ahead and buy the Kuyana tote. I'm just saying there are so many other options out there when it comes to a tote. This is leather, smooshy, soft, buttery leather, and it's different. It's not coated canvas, so I'm not going to compare apples to oranges, but I'm just using this as an example because I don't have a lot of totes to refer to. There's also this, which is obviously super popular, the Longchamp Le Pliage tote. This one is also discontinued because it's from the Neo collection, but there are so many other, the classic ones are still available. There's other lines. There's a recycled line. But, you know, the design is pretty classic. It hasn't changed, and Longchamp has been around for a long time. We all know that. So you can get this for under $200, right? Depending on the size. And you can get this Kuyana for under $300. So I'm giving you different options just to make you think, are we really going to panic about a coated canvas tote bag that is not that special, really, in my eyes, and it's over $2,000, and it's still going to be available through Louis Vuitton. If you want to wait about 90 days or so, it's not the end of the world to put yourself on the wait list. And I feel like this way it's better. You don't make an impulse purchase. You really wanted it. You put yourself on the list and you've got 90 days to change your mind. You know, look on the bright side, right? And if you're not into the Neverfull or the tote and you never have been, don't get sucked in now. Because for me, when I started hearing all the headlines, I was like, so? But then I thought, wait a minute, it's my job having a YouTube channel to relay some information and be somewhat on top of what's happening, especially in fashion and luxury, because that's what I usually focus on. So I thought, let me make a video, but I wanted to be sincere in my take, in my perspective, that this is not a big deal, that it's not something to get upset or angry about or panic by or freak out or start saying that Louis Vuitton is, you know, is trying to be Hermes. Louis Vuitton has always been trying to be like Hermes. It's nothing new. It's not now just because they're talking about pulling the plug on the Neverfull. That's not going to make them Hermes level. Chanel too. All luxury brands are competing with one another. It's business. It's business. So that's my take. I don't know. It's probably very different from some of the other videos and posts out there, but you guys know I usually have a different angle. And so I had to just put it out there. I hope that you see all the splashy headlines in the videos and you just go, okay, yeah, fine. If I want one, I'll buy one. If I don't want to pay the retail price and wait 3 months, I'll get it pre-loved. There are so many pre-loved options out there and they're all under retail. Otherwise, I'll get a limited edition one that's a little bit more special, a little bit more different, and it'll still be a very solid Neverfull that'll last years and years, but it'll have a different look to it, like the monoglam. You have options, so many options. Don't fall into the FOMO, don't fall into the panic. And yeah, I think we all just need to like take a step back here. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if it was a rant or a ramble. I don't feel like I was ranting because it's not like I'm emotional about this. I just felt like I needed to make this video. That's all. If you enjoyed this video in any way, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm sincerely curious about you guys and how you feel, because I think my audience, those of you who watch my videos, may also have a different perspective than some of the other viewers out there, and that's why you tend to gravitate towards my channel. So I'm just really curious how you feel. If you own a Neverfull or several Neverfulls, are you just going to cherish the ones that you have and make the most of them and appreciate what you have? Are you thinking of selling because maybe the prices will start skyrocketing on the pre-love market with all these rumors? Who knows? If you don't own one or you're planning to buy one, I would love to know. Just leave me a comment and I will see you all next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.